like I would just wake up in the middle of the night and be like, what? We're going to have a human in here?
Right,
and like totally freak out.
Welcome to another episode of Chewing the Fat. I am your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading, following the podcast, wherever you find your podcast. I certainly do appreciate that. Also, thanks to Scott for the coffees that you bought me at chewingthefatbr.com. I really appreciate that. It helps the late night edit sessions go very easily. So I really do appreciate your support. And I'm so excited about my guest today. We have been talking for a while. She is an artist. You've seen her work around town. It brings so much joy to Augusta. And she is a new mom and just as glowing as a Georgia peach, although I guess we're over here in South Carolina. But still, please welcome April Henry King.
Oh, thank you so much. And look at you. You're so legit with your podcast.
What do you mean?
I'm just like really impressed.
It's okay. That's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, because like everyone just, like everyone starts a podcast these days. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which like I love.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not used to it. It's great. I like it.
Even in the junk-ridden studio room that we're in.
No,
right?
I like it. I like it. I love it.
It's intimate. It's intimate.
There you go.
April, are you from the Augusta area?
I am raised and born in Augusta or born and raised, I guess you'd say. And now I live in North Augusta with you.
Yeah. So
not with you, but
because you would have been on the show sooner, because then that would have been like, come on, why can't you be on the show?
Right.
You literally live with me. No, I live over here in North Augusta. I love this whole CSRA. I don't even know if people use that term anymore for the Central Savannah River area.
Yeah, I think they do.
Do they still use that? I think I heard some other term before for this area, but it's such a cool region to be like, right there on the Savannah River, and you've got Georgia and South Carolina right there. And I think we, as states and cities go, I think we play nice together.
Oh, yeah. So. I think so too. I know that there can be some like competition sometimes here and there, but I really love that we live so close, like you said, to the river, and then we just cross the bridge and we're in downtown. Yeah. So it's like we get the best of both worlds. We get to be in North Augusta, where it's like really it's a great spot to have a family. Yeah. And then you can, not that Augusta isn't, but it's like we're just so close, and then you just cross the bridge.
There we are.
1 minute later, and then you're in like funky downtown. So that's
right. You're having a sandwich at Knuckle Sandwiches or something like that, or it is a great area. When you say you grew up, born and raised here in Augusta, is it a lot different than you remember when you were a child? I mean, you're still a child, but I mean. Well,
well, thank you. Yeah. I just turned 32, I think. So thank you. Yep. So growing up though, we weren't allowed to go downtown because it was like when there wasn't anything down there. Yeah. And so our parents were just like, no,
just dilapidated buildings.
Yeah. Like you don't need to be down there. And so, I guess I didn't really, since we weren't really allowed. I mean, we snuck downtown, sorry, Mom. But yeah, completely different. Because that was when I think like the Book Tavern was like the only thing that was down there for a while. I feel like maybe another spot that I'm not thinking of or something. But yeah, which like good on them for staying down. They've been like through all the phases down there.
Yeah.
But yes, just to be like a little part of that. When the revitalization kind of was happening, like 4 years ago, where everyone was kind of, there was that like momentum in the air and people were all excited and jazzed about it, like to be just a little part of that, doing murals and adding color and everything. Yeah, it's completely different. It's really, I feel like I just love how I love when cities have their own character that just builds over time. It's not trying to be like anything, because a lot of cities you can go to them and then you can tell that they're trying to be like Greenville or they're trying to be like Asheville. But Augusta is just like, it's funky, but it's kind of like the Garden City too. So it kind of has that like slight, I don't know the vibe to put on that, but it's a good like mix.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that, if you look at Augusta, I know a lot of people here recently I've been using the term Soul City.
Yeah.
Because you've got, Sharon Jones, you've got James Brown, you've got, talent like that. And we're a bit funky.
Yeah.
And I think the more that we could, embrace that, wrap our arms around the funkiness, and like, what, this is who we are. We have a, thriving music scene. There's some amazing bands playing pretty much every night, in this town. Shout out to like Bodega Cat, and of course there's the Browntown Gritty, just amazing musicians, in this town doing the damn thing and bringing that kind of vibe. It's almost like you talk about comparing. Well, it's not trying to be something, but you always draw comparisons.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, it kind of feels like a similar vibe if you've ever been to New Orleans, and all the places that have those live bands there.
Yeah.
It's that energy, that buzz, that life, and then of course the art scene as well. You being an artist, doing murals, of course, Pork Chop and Jason Craig and so many others that are really beautifying this town in non-traditional ways.
Yeah.
And it's another way again to just kind of give the city a hug and be like, yes, I'm proud of this. I want to showcase who we are. In your art journey, have you always been a doodler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in high school and middle school and all of that, I was always kind of the go-to creative person. So like teachers would ask me to help them decorate their bulletin board, or I don't know, do they even have bulletin boards anymore in school?
I think they do.
Is that still a thing? Okay.
Well, I mean, nobody was in school for 2 years because of COVID.
Well, somebody told me the other day that they have, I don't know why I thought that this wouldn't happen by now, but there's only tablets, like no books, like no books that you just like open. And I think that is wild, especially now that we have a kid and I'm like, what? Wait, I want him to have a book. What? But anyways, off topic. That's my usual thing. But yeah, so in high school and stuff, I was always kind of the go-to, kind of crafty person, I guess you could say, and was pretty creative always, but I didn't paint. I never had tried to paint because I didn't think that I could. But actually someone asked me to, and I tried, and then it was pretty good. And then I actually hung it in a coffee shop and someone bought it. And I was like, what? But I just think that that's wild though, because if someone had never asked me, I probably would, because you know how like you just, when you're younger, especially, you kind of put yourself in a box and you're like, I can't do this. My sister does this and I do this, and you can't like the same thing. And and I just never ever was like, I'm an artist. Everyone kind of did come to me for creative things. So my friend, he was the one that came to me and was like, you're really creative. Like, I'm working at this coffee shop. There's nothing on the walls. Like, you have to paint something and put it on the walls. Like, the owner will just let you. And I'm like, I've never painted anything before. I feel bad. I will feel bad for him if I paint something and he puts it on the walls. But like I said, I just did that, and then someone bought it, and then I kept doing it, and people just kept buying them, and I had to keep painting so he could have art on the wall.
It's like, dang it, I was only wanting to do one. Now I've had to do 15.
Yeah, and then that was also obviously when I realized, like, oh, I can make money doing this. This can be my job, because I know everybody does, but I hated working for somebody. I just have always been that leadership kind of
the entrepreneur kind of do it on your own.
Exactly. Like I've always wanted to like cut out the middleman. I've always wanted to just do my own thing and had that confidence in a way, which I don't quite know where that comes from. But so.
Do you remember what that first painting was?
Yes. It was a coffee cup, and it was super funky colors, and really bright, and it probably really wasn't that good. I mean, somebody bought it, and it was like an older person too, which made me feel better because I was like, oh, like it wasn't like a kid that was,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like, oh, maybe it looks distinguished.
Right.
Like I knew what I was doing.
They must know art.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so cool. That is so cool. So let me dive into that. Was there something during the process? Did it like, you felt like it clicked? Did it felt natural? The motion of your hand, the brush strokes, the color choice? Or was it like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna blah, 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 blah. Well, I guess that looks like a coffee cup. I mean.
Yeah, I probably a little bit of both.
Yeah?
But I was actually pretty good at it just for my first try, and I had no clue. And at the end, I remember I was kind of doing that the whole time, like, do. I had no clue what I'm doing. But it was fun. It was therapeutic. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed it. And I like looked at it at the end, and I was like, that is not bad. I can't believe that. Because, you know, you kind of laugh at yourself when you go to paint something. Like I used to teach the corks and canvas, like the painting classes, or you go and people go to those things all the time and just laugh at themselves. And, you know, so I kind of thought it would be like that. So yeah, I did begin to like really love that and find like confidence each time I did something new, because I kept doing paintings after that, obviously, because it became my job.
Wow.
And I started doing that, I think I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I worked at Brewster's before that. And
you were like,
I was like, this is not like, I just remember, and I know everyone feels this way, but I just remember working so hard and then getting that check. And then I was like, this ain't gonna cut it. Like, I need to be my own boss. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, how about I sell you a picture of an ice cream cone that you could put in the wall or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah.
So did that, obviously you're still doing it now, but I mean, did you go to school for that? Did you decide to pursue that? Or
no. So, well, I did try to go to Augusta University and do the fine arts thing. And I think I took one class. It was Intro to Drawing, I think. It was so hard. It was 4 hours long. It was very intense. And I know this sounds weird, but I'm not good at drawing. I'm good at painting. And there's a big difference. And people don't understand that. They're like, what? That doesn't make sense because you have to draw it to then paint, which is true. But there's just something completely different about it. Like my husband is an architect. He draws way better than me. We went to Dr. Sketchy's. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, down on the Chat Noir.
Yeah. And we like went one time and I was like, we were dating then. So I was like, oh my God, he's going to think I'm like so good. And I'm just going to like be really good at this, and he's gonna like me even more. And I was so embarrassed because mine looked so bad and his was really, really good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but anyway, so back to the class. I ended up learning, some techniques and everything, but I just really didn't like someone once again telling me what to do.
A sense of pattern.
Yeah, I just couldn't get down with that. And I also didn't like the critiquing because, like you were asking earlier, did I feel something when I started first painting? And I've loved that finally there was this thing that I could do where there weren't any rules.
Oh wow!
Because obviously, I'm not the best at rule following.
You don't want people telling you what to do.
Yeah. So yeah, I just would create, and there wouldn't be that thing of like, oh, you didn't do this, you have to do this and follow these steps.
Yeah.
It was just kind of really fluid and free. And so I really loved that. And so doing the class, I was like, yeah. And also like mad props to people that have a fine arts degree, because it is expensive and so time consuming and really hard. Like people think like, oh, that's cute. Like, oh, you're going to get a fine arts degree. You're going to color in the lines today. Like, no, it is no joke. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to peace out. And so then I headed to the communications department, and that was more my jam.
Okay. Okay.
So I graduated in, I think it was 2016. from AU with the communications degree.
Wow.
That I guess I kind of use because I market myself on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. So I kind of used it.
Kind of used that degree. Yeah. Did obviously you, like say, you had the penchant for the painting, and you didn't like following other people's rules. So entrepreneurship seems like right up your alley.
Yeah.
As you know, as a woman, how was that when you decided, you know what, I'm going to do something that's artistic, which, general population kind of looks down on artistic jobs as, oh, what's your backup?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You go to become an actor. Oh, well, that's fun for you to do that now. What's your backup? And it's like, no, you don't understand. This is what I want to do. This is the backup. This is it. There is no backup. This is it.
Yeah.
So when you're, going to be a painter and, an artist, and, there's a term starving artist for a reason, because a lot of times it's hard to get out there.
Yeah.
I can imagine being a woman that it's even harder of a hill to overcome, but, kudos to you. I feel like in this moment that you are here now, you definitely have. But what was that journey like for you?
It really I did not have that experience. I didn't feel that it was hard because I was a woman. But I could see how that could be hard. But it really, I don't know. It just, everything kind of fell into place, and people really trusted my judgment, which maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking if I was a man, maybe they would be like, oh, does she really know? Because, a lot of going into someone's home and meeting with them and getting their vibe and trying to match, the art to their aesthetic and their home. People really trust women to do that, I'd say, like a little. So I actually haven't really had that like experience. I mean, I have had, one time I was working on a mural with my husband, and, they came to pay us, and they handed the check to him, and he was like, oh, no, she's the boss. And that was kind of funny. That was probably the only thing I really experienced with that. But I don't know. That's just everything. I know this sounds annoying, but everything, I wasn't really trying to be an artist. Honestly, that's why I did communications, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I don't know, maybe this just isn't what I'm supposed to do. I was doing commissions on the side, like while I was in school. So I still had that kind of going, and people at that point were ordering things like portraits of their dog and their house and really customized art. And so that's how I paid my bills, like through college. So by the time I graduated, I was like, I still have no clue what I'm going to do with this degree. I thought by then I would had figured it out.
But yet you've graduated with a communications degree, and you have this, I'm assuming, pretty extensive portfolio of art that you've created.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't know what I want to do.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. It's hilarious. And so whenever I graduated, and thank goodness for a partner that's like super supportive. But when I had graduated, I was just crying, like, what am I going to do? And Brad was like, babe, you have a job. Like, that can be your job. And I'm like, what? Like, you'll trust that I can put 110% in this, and like, you try, like, you're going to, like, I don't want to say let me do this, but obviously we were a couple, we were engaged. So we needed to just discuss.
Be on the same page
about
it. Be on the same page. Yeah.
Because like you said, it doesn't feel very secure to be like, I'm just going to do whatever, you know, and not have that steady, you know, check coming in for like budgeting purposes and things like that. But he was like, no, like, you can do it. Like, you should do it. You should give it a try. And I was like, oh my God, like that, it just took so much weight off my shoulders. And you were laughing just a minute ago, and it's kind of funny now looking back, because I don't know how I didn't see that. Like that was my job. I was actually, at that point, I probably had painted like maybe over 300 paintings while I was in college. And I like I was so busy with that all the time, and I had to say no to people because of my schoolwork. So it's like, okay, you take the school away now because I'm done, and now I don't have to say no, and I still have like clientele coming to me.
Yeah.
So it kind of was, I don't want to say was easy, but it really did just like fall in my lap. And I think it's such a godsend that that happened because it wasn't like my whole life. I was like, one day I'm going to be an artist.
Right.
It was just kind of like, you know, like I was saying, the guy asked me to paint for the coffee shop. I didn't know I could paint. I tried it, and then it just kind of all fell into place.
You stepped a foot outside of the box you were standing in.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you discovered, you know, warmer waters,
right.
You know, a much, you know, much nicer viewpoint to create your life from. That's
and
amazing.
I feel really, really lucky too, because I didn't like the 9-to-5 thing. I didn't like someone telling me what to do. So now it's like I get to make my schedule, all of that. I just feel so lucky, and I'm really happy that Brad, he's never doubted, or he's never, which sometimes I'm like, are you gonna like question me? Because he just does it. He's just like, you'll do it and it'll be great. And I'm like, oh my God,
awesome.
Thank you.
That is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to have somebody that just believes in you so much. I mean, that definitely instills that confidence for you to, you know, seek, you know, dream big, you know, go after the large commissions or the, you know, building size murals or whatever it is that you want to do, along with the, you know, the commissions that you get in. You, have a very specific and beautiful style of painting.
Thank you.
I had, matter of fact, just full disclosure, I had, commissioned April to do a painting of my father-in-law and his wife and their pet for Christmas a couple of years ago. I think that was probably one of our first interactions. And they still talk about that, you know, and they're like, they're moving to another house in Phoenix, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to figure out where we're going to put the painting and all this other stuff.
Hear that.
But your style, did that take some tweaking along the way to really land on this? Because I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what the actual artistic term is for what it is that you do.
I don't either.
I mean, you use acrylics.
Yes. I'm
going to call it a palette knife type technique, because there's dimension to it. You know what I mean? It's not flat on a canvas. There's dimension, there's texture, there's depth and layers to what it is you do. And that was just part of your discovery?
Yeah, so I'm self-taught because I didn't want to do the whole art school thing. And I you know, didn't have a ton of tools or anything. I didn't have the best paint or the best this or whatever, but you know, I was young and I wanted to keep creating. And so I would use things like, I remember one time I had an old broom and I just like took the top off of it and like was using that to make texture. And just, a lot of people try to talk art to me, and I'm like, you probably know more than I do. I didn't study artist. I didn't go to art school. I didn't, you know, so I don't know the terms either. It's just another thing that just kind of happened where I was creating, and I just, once you kind of get in the swing of things and in the groove and all, your style really does start to like come out when you give yourself that freedom. So yeah, it just developed like over time. And also because I'm not the best at something, and this is the crazy thing, is I am not the most talented at all, like artist in Augusta. Like I'm just self-taught. I'm just creating things, but I'm not great at, like I said, if someone was in front of me and they're like, oh, draw them. It's not going to look that great. I have to, I have to get really creative in order to create things, like, because I'm not the best. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just, there's so many talented artists. I guess what I'm saying is like, there's so many talented artists in Augusta. And we were talking about this earlier. Like, there's just insecurity that comes with artists, because a lot, it's like some people feel like they're showing their journal or something, or they're like, if they show someone their art, they're like naked in the middle of the room or something, you know, like it's very vulnerable for people.
Yeah.
But I just have always wanted to create, so I just do it, and it just has become what it's become. And I don't know, I wasn't really ever trying to land on a style, and actually I didn't really know I had a specific style until people started kind of saying that. And I was like, oh wow, that's cool, because you know, I was inspired by a lot of people, so it kind of took me some time to get there, because I would kind of like not copy, but I would practice certain different styles, looking at something impressionist, and then seeing if I liked that, or looking or whatever. You know, I'm surprised I knew what that was.
Impressionist, that's good. Yeah, you go. Yeah. But you know, and that's the thing is I guess it goes back to you giving yourself this freedom to just create. You weren't really worried about if somebody liked it or not. It's like, there it is. Yeah. You don't like it? That's okay. Because I liked it. That's why I made it. There it is. Yeah. And then it allows you to change and refine and move into, you know, what you have now. Your style also, and this was the one thing that my father-in-law says, like, you don't generally do faces on people or things. And so he's like, where's the faces? I was like, that. I was like, that's her style. That's, and I'm bringing up the, you know, your Instagram. I'm like, look, it's not just you. It's that's her style. You know, these beautiful blobs of color that just, you know, but it's like, you look at that and it's like, I know that's you. I'm looking at it. I know that's you. You know.
Yeah. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, I'm not the best at faces. So what's hilarious is I'm like, well, I still want to create though. And I want to make things. And so I just started doing that. And I was like, I'm not putting and I love mouths because I love smiles. So I'll do the mouth. And it's just hilarious because like some people get it and some people just like don't. But it's just, I think that's why I've been successful, because it's not about me being great, or that I took all these classes and I have the best brushes and the best paint. It truly is that I'm just creating because my soul, I have to, or I'll like jump out of my body. So, and I think that's what people get attached to. You know what I mean? So anyways, I say all that to say that there's so many talented artists in Augusta, and I just wish so bad that they would just create, like no matter what, you know, just let go of all of that and really give yourself that freedom. Because if I can be successful and I'm just self-taught, and like I said, I can't even talk art. Like, I mean, you know, like if you, there's so many talent. So I hope that's encouraging. If people hear that, I hope it's encouraging, because I think we do get stuck and think, oh, we can't do things unless we have the best equipment or the best this, or we got a degree in this, so that makes me an artist, or but it's not. It's like just whatever your heart, like, I know that sounds so cliche.
No. Look, you are speaking words that I have spoken before.
Good. Okay.
Because, on one hand, I had the desire to make this podcast, but it took me over a year to get over myself because I was chasing equipment. I kept putting hurdles in my life. Oh, well, I have to have this microphone. Oh, well, I have to have this, and I have to have that, and it was really just to stop myself from hitting the button and recording. And then once I've started recording, I love it so much. I love having conversations and talking to people. So, the message that I was given that helped me to hit the record button. Maybe this is a message that helps somebody to pick up a paintbrush, you know, whether you're 5 years old or 500 years old, to create. When you have that stuff inside, do whatever you can to get it out, to get those emotions out, to get that joy, to get that sadness, to get whatever it is, whether it's singing, whether it's writing songs, poetry, art, painting, drawing, you know, creating music, whatever it is, let it out. You know, you have permission to create with reckless abandon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And another example of that is Jason Craig asked me if I wanted to be in the poster show. And I was like, Jason, you're forgetting I am so bad at Photoshop. Like, I'm like, Jason, I can't make a poster. He's like, because I don't know if the rules were that you had to make it like in a graphic design way or on a program. Oh, I don't know where I got that from, but I was like, Jason, I can't do it because like, I don't know how to use those programs or whatever. And then I thought about it and I was like, wait, okay, I totally know how to use Paint. And, like
the MS Paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to make a 90s poster because that was so 90s. Like me in my room in the 90s on Paint making, I don't even know what I was making on there, something horrible, I'm sure. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make the poster and it's going to be a 90s poster of all Augusta things and people loved it.
Yeah.
But what if I would have said, no, Jason, I'm not going to make anything. I'm not going to do it because I don't know how to, I feel intimidated. I'm not, you know what I mean? But I like just did it and people loved, I think it like won, there was an award. I have the trophy. I feel like I slept with it on my pillow for like 2 weeks. I don't know why I'm forgetting what the award was, but I think it was like, I don't know, not best in show, but it was like the one that, I don't know. I can't think of words.
People's Choice or something like that.
Mom brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. That's exactly it, though. You instead of being weighed down with that, you and you're not wanting to follow the rules. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to follow the rule that I'm putting on myself.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it with MS Paint. No, that's amazing. There were so many good posters in that show, and kudos to Jason for having the idea to put that thing together. And I am sure he's going to do it again. Because it was just so cool.
And it was such a good time for him to do it too, because we had all been in our houses and we were all just like, events got canceled. And so that was like, I feel like that was the first event like in a while that that meant so much to all of us artists that he put that on, and everyone just felt so like special and it was fun.
Because we had all been stuck in our houses, and maybe there are artists who'd quit creating for a while because you're just stuck at home. It's like if you were a muralist or if you were some other type of designer or something, it's like now I have a focus. I have something I can pour out into again. Absolutely. So kudos to you, Jason, man. We love you. Speaking of loving things, and you've mentioned being a new mom.
Yeah.
How is that going?
Okay, so the first 2 weeks, to be candid, I was just like crying a lot and was like, what is happening? And I was having full meltdowns.
Oh no.
But then my hormones kind of like leveled out, and then I got to know Bennett, and then he got to know me a little bit more, like, just our cues. And he's like, okay, you're my mom. I chill with you every day. And then I'm like, okay, when you do that, that means this, and whatever. So now I'm more confident with it, and it's going really, really good. Yeah. And he's just like, he's starting to smile at me. So I'm like, you do like me. Okay. Because at first they're just like crying in your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what's happening. Like, do you hate me? But yeah, so he's just adorable. And it's been interesting. So I feel like back to the, women in business thing, I feel like it's been tough juggling working. So I've had to kind of scale back a little bit. So I'm only doing small murals now and doing live paintings for weddings. So like I'll go and paint their first kiss or their first dance or their I do, like as kind of like as entertainment.
Yeah, it's almost
for
like
their guests.
Yeah, like living art. Like
And so that's what I'm doing now, because that's just like a Saturday, and Brad can watch the baby, and then I can go. But one of the things that I've learned with that is that, I have this like image in my mind of like, like the books where there's like a woman, she writes this book and she's like in a suit, she's got her arms crossed, and she's like, you can have it all, those type of books.
Right,
like,
right.
And I like used to believe that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. No, like you do actually have to choose. Like, I'm sorry, it just is what it is. And I'm like learning that. I think it's like cute and fun and all to be like, we can have it all, we can do it. It's like, nah, you're gonna be burnt out. Like, you really can't have it all. And that's fine. And that's like my phase right now in life, is like being a mom more than working right now. And yeah, it's been different, but it's like, it's I don't know. It's really joyful for me. Every day he's just like smiling at me in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, now I'm in the best mood ever. And it's different than I cried when I first got pregnant because I was so sick. I was so excited, but I was just, it was a really tough pregnancy in the beginning, and I couldn't work, and I had to say no to things, and that was the first time that I realized how much my job meant to me. And it was like a really, like, I guess, a part of my identity. So that was hard to grapple with, like, at first, but now I'm used to it, and I'm like, okay, like, being a mom is the most important job I'm ever going to have. That's the way I look at it. So now I'm more okay with, okay, in this phase in my life for a couple years till he goes to school, this is just what it's going to be. I'm going to work a couple Saturdays here and there, and that's just going to be okay for now.
Right. I think it's not necessarily that you know, you can have it all kind of thing, but you can have all the important things because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, job's a job, you know, family's family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yes, you need the job to support the family, but if you neglect the family because you're trying to do the job, there's a disconnect.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So, and of course you've got a great partner in Brad.
Yeah.
I loved watching the transformation of your cottage.
Oh, thank you.
You know, via your Instagram, cause he is, let me just say, he is like crazy talented architect.
I know.
Crazy talented.
Yeah, I got real lucky.
And I mean, the stuff that you guys have done, you know, it's just the interior home is beautiful. If like Augusta Magazine hasn't come to take pictures yet or something, I'm to petition that they need to come and take pictures or, you know, whatever, you know, somebody needs to take pictures because it's magazine ready. So cool. And of course, your first son, Hammy.
Oh yes.
Hampton
the cat.
Hampton the cat. The Adventures of Hampton is also one of my favorite things, because I did having this stray pop up on your front porch that you decided to pour into and love. Did it help? Like when, you know, little BB King was coming along, you're like, I already know how to kind of take care of some stuff. And, you know.
Oh, yeah. Because,
not that babies and cats are the same.
Right,
but.
right. No, totally, though. Because I always, like, wanted to be a mom, but then I don't really know what happened. I don't know if it was, like, a society thing where now we just wait longer. And I'm not quite sure, like, where that comes from. Like subconsciously, I just kind of did this thing where I was like, I'm going to wait a long time. But yeah, so I went back and forth with like, cause when you wait, so, I mean, I'm saying so long, but like I was 31 when I started like thinking about it again, or maybe 30. And so you're so spoiled then and selfish with your time at that point where it really is like, I was like, I don't know if I
don't want to give this up.
Yeah, because you're just so used to it. But if you have like a kid mid-20s or early 20s, it's like you kind of didn't get too long to get too spoiled.
Right.
And me and Brad just could seriously just go and do whatever. And I was really enjoying that. But obviously I knew like we should probably try soon. And so whenever Hampton came along during that time when I was going back and forth trying to decide, like, I don't know if I'm ready to be a mom. And like everyone would be like, oh, you are so ready. The way you're swaddling the cat, like you're ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's a cute, I'm allergic to cats, you know, and just honestly, I think they're from the devil, but he's so cute. They are cute. I would give them
that. People say that. They're like, I don't even like cats at all, and I'm obsessed with them, and I just look at your story every day just to see what he's doing, and I'm like, wow, this cat.
Just, you know,
it's the cheeks.
It is. It's the cheeks. And then you just did the silhouette, silhouettes of Bennett and Hampton that you put on your wall in your museum home. It was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So what's next for you? What's going on? What's next for you?
So now that I have like more time to think about what I want to do. Do I want to pursue other things, or do I want to have a full plan in a binder when I get back to work? I actually, like you said, really love decorating. So I don't know. I've just kind of been trying to decide what I do want to do, because I do have some other passions. So I don't know. Maybe I could do like interior design. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to leave art though, because like I said, it just like fell in my lap so easily. I feel like that's kind of like a godsend thing, where it's like, okay, then you should probably do that thing. It's hard when something's working to be like, I'm going to stop doing that and do this other thing that I might fail at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But right now, just mostly just being a mom.
All right, April, this is the second segment of the show. This is where we dive a little bit deeper, talk more about mental health. I'm a firm believer that everybody goes through those down days, those days of doubt, depression, anxiety, pressure from society, all that stuff that kind of weighs on us, and it makes us feel alone. The important thing is that we're not alone. Everybody kind of goes through that stuff, and everybody handles it differently. So I want to know from you, how do you keep the darkness at bay?
Yeah, I love that question. And I love that you do this segment, because I think it's super, super important. So I actually have a couple people have written me in the last, I'd say like 8 years, some really nice messages that were super, just really like touched my heart. And I think so I saved them on a doc. And if I'm having one of those days where a lot of doubts are coming in, or I'm like speaking negatively to myself, I will go and reread those messages that people wrote me. Because I think so often, like, we'll remember that one thing somebody said, or that off comment, or just our own, crap in our head.
Yeah.
But we will like totally forget this like really amazing message that several people had said, or that really like means a lot to you, So that's one of the things. And then I also on that doc have a list of things that I do that are just random. Like, one time it made me really happy to go sit in the chair out back. I need to remember, if I'm sat, I have this swing like in my tree, and it just calms me a lot. So I have this list. There's probably like, at this point, there's probably like 20 things on it of just things that are just really simple, but I like forget. So if I get in kind of like a spiral about something, I'll go to the list and I'll be like, all right, we're going to go for a walk, or all right, we're going to go sit in the tree, or okay, that one time that I took my shoes off and grounded myself like in the grass, that made me really happy and kind of switched some gears in my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I've been trying for the last couple of years, and that works a lot. Because like I said, I can get in a full spiral. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
My husband knows when the spiral is coming on. He's like, are we about to spiral? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, go get the list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that's great. And that's great to have a partner again that sees you and knows.
Oh yeah, he knows the look in the eyes when I'm about to have a spiral.
Yeah. And I know your art is different from your commission work and things like that. Because I know those internal feelings can come out in our work, whether it's in a regular job at a desk, it's in an artistic endeavor, do you think that, like, are there any pieces you've done? I don't know. I don't expect the answer to be any particular commission, but like any of your mural work or anything like that you can look back that, like, that was a bad day and I picked this color because that was how I was feeling that day, and it ended up working well with everything else or something like that. I love how the artistic mind works, and I do understand that doing theater, we use our emotions to convey emotions of other people,
right? Yeah.
And you draw on that stuff, and it becomes part of your tool belt.
Yeah.
I
haven't haven't done that just because the murals that people usually want for me are like happy and bright colors. So I'll usually go with really like the vibe that the establishment is kind of going with. But I do have every now and then I will do a painting. I think I've probably done 2 or 3 that no one ever sees.
Okay.
And they're just very like for me and just really like putting on some music and just like going at it. Cause like I said, painting is really therapeutic for me. I struggle with like anxiety really bad, but I actually have gotten a lot better. I can't even remember how bad my anxiety was until, you get anxiety from pregnancy and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I would just wake up in the middle of the night and be like, what? We're going to have a human in here?
Right,
and like totally freak out.
Like, I don't trust me to have a human.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Actually, so I found this adaptogen called ashwagandha, and I found it in a form, like an oil form. And so I will take that at night sometimes. Some people say it's kind of like CBD. So that helps me a lot. But I also do this thing where I will, I don't want to call it journaling because like journaling sounds like, I don't know, kind of silly to me. I don't know why, but I will do this thing where if I'm having an issue and I'm getting that anxiety and I feel it's coming back up again, I will write down what's going on with me. So that would be like a sentence, like I am feeling really nervous about this meeting Wednesday. And then I do this thing where I'll continuously ask myself why. So then I'll say, okay, why? And then I'll write that down. And then to that, I'll say, okay, why? And then keep doing that till I get down to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And that really helps my anxiety a lot because sometimes you don't know where it's like quite coming from.
Yeah.
And then it can spiral out of control into something. Then you have a panic attack
Yeah.
or something. And you're like, whoa, what's happening? How did this happen? So I try to stay on top of my thoughts. And I'm just very in tune with myself. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And not that anything is against like medication at all, but I try to be as natural as possible because I do believe that my anxiety is from just circumstances, not like a chemical imbalance or something.
Right,
So like,
right.
obviously I'm not a doctor, talk to your doctor. But that's like what works for me is just like really like checking in with myself. And my anxiety has been so good. And also shout out to my husband again, because he's so calm that I think that helps me a lot too, like having a calm partner that you live with. But yeah, my anxiety has gotten so much better from doing that. And I always tell people that's what I do because it works. Like it's so crazy what will come out when you just keep asking yourself why. It's like by the time you get to the root that you're like, how was that the thing that was upsetting me to the point where I was nervous about a meeting with someone on Wednesday, you know?
I love that though. I mean, that's very much in line with what we were saying when you have things on the inside, using something to get them out. Yeah. You know, sometimes you have joyful things in there and you grab your paintbrush and you paint in, yellows and blues and greens, but sometimes you have, things that are bothering you inside and you're using that same type of release, but instead of a paintbrush, you're using a pencil and you're writing it down. I love that.
Yeah. And then I burn the paper, just by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah. It's kind of like a little ceremony. Yeah. Because I also I don't want anyone to read it because it's like very vulnerable. Because when you start asking yourself questions, and like you're writing, like no one's gonna read it, it can get pretty real and raw.
Well, you know what? That is a great part of that too, though. I can understand people who journal and they want to keep so they can look back and look at the progression of things.
And I take that back. Journaling is not silly. I just think the word journaling for some can be like.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like people kind of like laugh at it or something sometimes, like, oh, you're journaling,
Well, I mean, you just call it writing down. I'm writing down my feelings.
Yes.
It's a way to say that faster by saying I'm journaling.
Yeah.
But I love that the burning of the thing, the root, once you've discovered that, that's got to be a very powerful part of that process.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 'Cause you kind of have to like do something tangible. And then I try to work on whatever that root thing was. And sometimes whatever it comes down to, I can work on it in like a week and kind of squash it. And then other times like, there's one issue that I probably might just have my entire life. But I try to manage that by staying like super, super in tune with myself and checking in all the time. Probably a little too. Brad's funny too, because he'll be like, you know Bennett so well. Like, I'm so just, it makes you more in tune with your surroundings too. And that might just be mom intuition. But he's like, you always know what he wants.
That's part of the job.
Yeah. He's like, how did you know that?
All right, April, this is the third segment of the show. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. Fast Five is...
I loved that.
And we're still working on the theme song. I'm just workshopping some things. I'll get one day. Fast Five is powered by Poddex. It's an app created by my friend Travis Brown for podcasters. So it's great, conversation starters and interview questions. But it's also great if you just need to talk to somebody and you don't know what to talk about. So if you go to chewinthefatbr.com/Poddex and use the promo code CHEW, you can get 10% off of your physical decks. I'm going to use the app available in whatever app store you may have on your phone. And I'm going to just hit the randomizer. No wrong answers. Okay. No pressure.
I'm so bad at stuff like this.
No wrong answers. And just first thing comes off the top of your head. You ready?
All right.
Question number 1. Name one thing on your bucket list.
I really want to go to Greece.
Nice.
Really, really, really bad. I feel like in a past life, I was Greek. Maybe. Possibly. Yep.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
I have like a longing to go there.
Yeah.
Definitely want to do that.
Okay.
But then we had our kids, and I was like, I'll go
take
there
them with
in a
you.
little while.
Take them with you,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could take them with. Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, Grandma and Pop, can y'all just watch Little BB for us?
Yeah, because I've got like things to do.
I got you. That's awesome. All right, question number 2. Which do you think is prettier, a sunrise or a sunset?
I really like sunsets because the colors. They're just like this deep oranges and pinks and blues. I mean, not blues.
Well, I mean, those purples and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I do love a cotton candy sky. That's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. It's like when there's been some like fluffy clouds and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good one. I always say I think I love sunsets more, but I think I appreciate sunrises more because I see fewer of those. Yeah. I'm not up when the sun's coming up.
That's true.
So I think when I have a chance to see that, I try to appreciate it more, but I definitely do love a good sunset. All right, number 3. What was the last book you read?
So I do Audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll count that.
This is not a fun topic, but it wasn't. I won't say what it was about, but it was a book about making decisions about children.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. About like what to do in some instances and things.
It wasn't like the what to expect when you're expecting or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
But kind of like that.
Okay. Yeah. So just some new parent.
I'm being vague.
Yeah, I see that. Some new parent, because you're not given a title. New parent tips and tricks type of thing. Okay. All right, that's good. Which makes sense. Obviously, you're a new parent. Yep. That makes sense. All right, and what we got? Number 4. You can choose anyone in the world to become friends with. Who would you choose?
Okay, I don't know why, but I just feel like me and the Avett brothers would be best friends. I've always thought this. I truly believe it in my mind. I'm like, if we could just talk for like a second, we would all be friends.
That's awesome.
And I truly believe this in my mind.
And the thing is that's not outside the realm of possibility as much as they come to town.
I know. Yeah. I've seen them like, I think 10 times now.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm coming off obsessive, but
you should, can you like, get a backstage pass or something? I mean, it's like feel like you probably.
I didn't know this, but one of them is an artist. I can't remember which one now.
This wouldn't be the one you'd be friends with, I guess.
Right.
Although that would be a great intro, right?
I think he did one of their album covers too. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, I didn't know that. Yeah, I just think that's really cool.
But that may be your inroad there. Be like, hey, I do art. Let me do a live painting at the next concert of you guys on stage. Look, you do art too?
Right, yeah.
Here's my card.
There we go.
And also my husband, Brad.
Yeah.
And number 5. What will we find if we look in the bottom of your closet today?
Well, there's a lot of things down there. Okay, so I actually am in the process of getting a closet system.
Ooh.
Because we have the tiniest closets in our built in 1938 home. Mm-hmm. And so right now we've got a lot of dusty shoes. We've got winter clothes in a box. Mm-hmm. And some bathing suits on the floor in there right now. Yeah. That's what we got.
All right. That's
it's kind of boring.
Well, I mean, no, it's not boring.
I actually know exactly what's there right now because I was looking at it.
This is a process.
Yeah, because I was like measuring.
Yeah.
So like, there's some dusty shoes. I don't know how the closet gets so dusty, but.
Well, I mean, so let me ask you about the shoes. Are you getting rid of the shoes? If they're dusty, you're not wearing them, right?
Yeah. Well, I've changed styles, like especially since being a mom. I am over heels. Like I'm not doing a heel. I mean, unless it's a comfortable heel.
Gotcha. Like a kitten heel or something.
Right. Like gotcha. Or like a wedge or something. So I'm completely rehauling my wardrobe.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of some things because there's some like stilettos in there and those are definitely not ever being worn ever again. Who has the time?
I don't know. I definitely don't. I quit wearing my stilettos years ago.
Right.
Well, that's it, April. That's our Fast Five, and that is the show. Thank you so much for being here.
That was fun.
This is awesome. So if folks want to keep up with you, what's one of the best ways that they can find you?
Okay, so I'm really active on Instagram at April Henry King, and also my website, aprilhenryking.com, where you can look at my brochures for a live event painting, which I am doing, and small murals. Mm-hmm. And I'm also on Facebook, April Henry King. So I'm April Henry King handle at all the socials.
All the places. So if you guys would like to have a beautiful faceless picture of yourself painted by April, please check out the website. And if not, just follow her on Instagram to get the hammy updates because those cheeks, I'm serious, those cheeks.
If I don't post him, people will be like,
hey, is he okay? Did he run away?
Yes.
Yeah, because he is still a stray cat. I mean, he sleeps in your house and stuff now.
I'm pretty sure he came home the other night. I'm pretty sure someone cut his hair.
Really?
I'm like, you have another owner. Like, this is so rude.
This is so rude. So keep up with the hammy drama on Instagram. Thank you again so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, well, this was awesome. If you would like to support this podcast, I'd appreciate it if you bought me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com. While you're there, you can find out more about April. I'll put the links in the show notes and on the website. But until next time, I look forward to the chance we have to sit a spell and chew the fat.